All right, welcome back everybody. My name's Austin. Big news day. Big news day. First off, being reported right out of Forbes, Goldman Sachs is hosting a client call about Bitcoin, about gold, and about inflation. And the reason this is such a big deal is because Goldman Sachs, major bank, they have a lot of clients. To be specific, they have over 1.5 million customers, and this includes deposits of over 23 billion and a loan book of about 1.3 billion. So they're a major bank, and they've just scheduled a client call to educate their people about Bitcoin. And this is coming up in about 4 days. The conference call, set for May 27th, is at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and is the 15th in a series on macroeconomic and financial trends. And keep in mind, this is specifically for the United States of America. Yes, Goldman Sachs is an international bank, but this report, this client call, is specifically for the United States economic outlook and how Bitcoin, gold, and inflation fits into that. And look who's hosting. We have Sharmin Mazavar-Rahmani, who is the Chief Investment Officer at Goldman Sachs. She will also be joined by Jason Furman, who is an economic professor at Harvard, and also Jan Hatziev, who is the chief economist and the head of global research at Goldman Sachs. Like it, support it. And the reason that this is such a big deal is because the people that used to ignore Bitcoin are now our educators on Bitcoin, at least their clientele, because they do not want the United States to fall behind. And this is totally different. This is totally different than what we heard 2 years ago. In 2018, for example, their chief investment officer said that they saw no value in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. And now, just 2 years later, they're educating their clients on inflation, gold, and Bitcoin. And specifically, what they plan to talk about, per this title, the call's aim is to discuss how current central bank policy and the risk of monetary inflation could impact assets like Bitcoin, like gold. Let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. Give me your thoughts. Now, regarding the United States, I have another piece of news. Watch the whole video. But I do want to say Goldman Sachs, talking about the US economy and its relation to Bitcoin, gold, and inflation, I think has everything to do with, this is news, the Federal Reserve balance sheet just reached over $7 trillion. $1 trillion of that growth was in the last month. And this is right, they published this right on their website. Credit and liquidity programs and the balance sheet. And this is total assets of the Federal Reserve. Look at that growth. This is 2020 right here. This was 2008. We thought this was a huge increase. And just for perspective, while we've had 1 trillion growth in the last month, don't forget 3 trillion plus has came alone in 2020. No scammer in the crypto market could ever hold a candle to the Fed. Please tell me what you think. If you disagree, if you agree. Next piece of news before JP Morgan. Iran, huge green flag. The Iranian president calls for a national crypto mining strategy. Check this out. Another way to say this is Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has ordered the government of Iran to draw up a renewed national approach for the emerging crypto industry. I am really surprised more people aren't talking about this because the implications for Bitcoin, this is pretty big. So how did this happen? Chairing Iran's Economic Coordination Headquarters, a seminar for the National Economic Strategy of Iran earlier this week, Rouhani told officials, 3 officials, one thing. He told the Central Bank of Iran, CBI, he told the Energy Department, and he told the Information and Communication Technology Ministries of Iran that they need to devise a new national strategy for crypto mining, including regulation and mining revenue. And to put this in perspective, Iran has always been sort of on the cutting edge of Bitcoin mining. Iran was one of the first countries to officially recognize cryptocurrency mining as a legitimate industry back in July of 2019. That's when they first turned bullish publicly. The government now issues mining licenses, giving companies the right to mine and then sell off any digital assets produced. And an industry report in January said Iran had issued over 1,000 such licenses in its first 6 months. So they give out mining licenses, and since January, they've given out 1,000. And this was before the new update. So this is a new update. And keep in mind, in general, Iran currently has a 4% share in Bitcoin's total hash rate, according to the Bitcoin mining map, more than double. So 4% is now more than double of what Iran had at the beginning of September 2019. So talk about Bitcoin game theory for the mining in play right here. So incredibly bullish for Bitcoin. Hit the like, get this information out to the people. The people deserve to know. But what's different, because this was already legal, and they already have about 4% of the Bitcoin mining hash rate. What's new is, now the president of Iran wants to develop a national crypto mining strategy for the state. Now, the minute I get more information on the specific type of strategy they're going for, I'm going to make a video, I'm going to let you know. But two things to consider: just months ago, the administration of US President Donald Trump raised concerns that Iranians were using digital assets in order to circumvent, so they're getting some negative pressure from the United States, Donald Trump. And while it's unclear why Rouhani wants Iranian officials to revisit Bitcoin mining regulation, with the clampdown on value leaving the country in the form of cryptocurrencies, it is possible that the president wants to ensure miners, Bitcoin miners, aren't taking their money away from the government's clutches. So essentially, he wants the miners to stay in Iran. He wants to give out more licenses. Things are heating up. Let's keep going. Next piece of news. Again, specifically for the United States, we are learning new information about these big banks and companies. JP Morgan, we already know, just accepted Coinbase and Gemini, crypto exchanges, as clients. We are now finding out that JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon was holding secret meetings with Brian Armstrong since 2018. Listen to this clip from the Unchained Unconfirmed podcast interviewing staff writer at Fortune, Jeff Roberts, who is writing a book on Coinbase's past, present, and future and how they have helped the cryptocurrency journey. Listen to Laura Shin ask Jeff Roberts about Coinbase's new work from home implementation due to the pandemic. But then listen to how Jeff Roberts says how Jamie Dimon has been meeting with Brian Armstrong for the past 2 years and how he feels this is going to affect Coinbase's upcoming IPO and the creation of Coinbase Coin. Listen to this.
Well, let's talk about Coinbase today. Where do you feel like Coinbase is poised to go next? Where do you feel like they're headed? Some of the news this week is that after, this period of the coronavirus, they've decided to become a remote first company. What do you think of that? And what else do you think is or should be top of mind for Coinbase?
The remote work thing, I don't think is actually that important or interesting. I mean, companies like Kraken have been remote the whole time. And I think that's just the way the world's headed. And crypto is, earlier to that than most people. I think the more interesting story, though, is what Coinbase is going to become. I heard reliable people telling me they didn't initially plan to do an IPO this year. Of course, like so much else in the world, that's on ice for now. But I think also to Coinbase's credit, they're profitable. A lot of, big Silicon Valley unicorns are, a complete mess right now, losing money like you wouldn't believe. Coinbase is financially stable. So the big question is, how will they do an IPO? It's not going to be this year, but maybe it'll be next year. And this report in my book, ironically, Brian Armstrong and Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan, who of course is one of the, biggest enemies of Bitcoin and is pissed on it for years. Turns out they were actually having secret meetings in 2018, at JP Morgan's headquarters. So I can't wait to see what the IPO looks like. Fred Ursum has told me, and others at Coinbase, they all have a passion for crypto. And if they just do a conventional stock listing, that will be sort of, I think, a little bit of a betrayal to the world of crypto and to their own ideals. So I think, Coinbase, I'm not really supposed to, as a reporter, I'm supposed to be neutral, but I'm kind of rooting for them to be bold. And when they do their listing, to see half that become blockchain tokens and issue a Coinbase token like Binance's. A lot of that will depend on the regulatory situation, of course, but I think things are getting more favorable. So I think that's what we should be watching. And, just to see what the future of, the stock exchange looks like. And will one day, Coinbase be offering, sort of blockchain tokens for companies like Apple and Nike? I don't know. It's really interesting. All this is a couple years away, but I think that's what the story's going to be.
What do you think? Honestly, do I think Coinbase wishes they would have created their own altcoin so they could profit like Binance did? Probably, because Binance is a coin is billions of dollars. But why does an exchange need a cryptocurrency? I mean, exchanges have worked fine without one. Yes, it can be used like a coupon for discounts. But my question is, how does this not give Binance a competitive advantage? Because they crowdfunded the world for their exchange and not make them an unregistered security. So that is the question. We'll see. We'll see. If Coinbase issues their IPO, we will see. All right, that's the video. My name's Austin. See you tomorrow.